Okay. So what is the intention of today's session? So first, like again, I'm requesting Sabia, Aimin, Asar, Imza, Ansar, please could you switch on your video cameras? So, we can really interact and create value for you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, yes, Ansar. Imza, can you confirm that you're on the call and switch on your camera? Okay, so we'll move ahead. Now, the intention of today's session, okay? So, a lot of people are dealing with diabetes. And, when I was going through everybody's form, a lot of people said, we are not diabetic, but our family people, we have parents or brothers, sisters who are dealing with diabetes. So, I want to thank you for being here. And really, my promise to you is when you walk out at 5 p.m., there's complete value, and you're going to look at managing your sugar levels in a very different way. Okay, so let's jump right in and look at what needs to be done. Now, when it comes to managing sugar levels, today there is no age where people can say, like, पहले बोलते थे कि 50 के बाद diabetes हो सकता है. Today, even a young kid gets diabetes. So diabetes is no more an age-bound thing. Okay, it is something that is affecting people. It is affecting Asians the most, and the worst part is it is affecting Indians the most. India is the diabetic capital of the world. Okay, and this is a problem area. But have you thought about it that, why does it happen? Like, how come we are falling so sick? Okay, the only reason why we are falling sick is we have adopted a lifestyle which we are living by, right? We are practicing something. We don't monitor our levels, and then one fine day when we get our blood reports, it's too late and the symptoms are too bad. Okay, so if we have the right kind of knowledge, if we start looking out and listening to our body's signal, if we start doing the right blood test, we can prevent ourselves from becoming diabetic and managing before things get worse. Okay, so how many of you all are interested to know how can you catch and pick up if you are at a high risk of diabetes? If you can just raise your virtual hand or something. Yes, how many of you all would like to share? You can unmute also. Like, how many of you all really want to know that what signs and symptoms should I be looking out for so that I know whether I'm diabetic or not? Yes, so Nishant has raised his hand. Okay, so I'm going to give you the most obvious signs that you should be watching out for. Okay, the first thing is if you're having excessive thirst and a lot of urination, that's the first pain point and signal that will tell you if you're on the verge of getting diabetic. Second is if you're hungry all the time, there is a lot of hunger. So that is a sign of diabetes. Third, if you have a lot of sugar cravings, you're all the time wanting sweets, that can be a sign. Okay. Next thing is if you have a lot of belly fat around your waist and everything, that is going to put you at a high risk of getting diabetes. Okay. Then the next point is having very poor concentration. Okay, like if you feel कि 2 घंटे मैंने screen के सामने spend किया and then after that I'm getting a headache, I'm not able to focus. That is a concern area. Okay, so if you're having brain fog and poor concentration, that also can be that you're having unmanaged sugar levels. Okay, so these are things जो हम बाहर से देख सकते हैं and we come to know whether we are diabetic or not. But how can you be sure, short, clear that you are at the risk of diabetes is by actually getting a blood check done. Okay. So many patients that I talk to, I ask them, when have you done your blood test? So they say, COVID ke time kiya tha. Okay. So if you don't have that discipline of checking regularly and knowing your numbers, if you're not measuring your numbers, one fine day you will be shocked. Okay. So the first test that you need to do to know your sugar levels is doing your HbA1c test. Okay, that gives you a clear picture that last 3 months how you have managed your sugar. Okay, and यहाँ पे you cannot fool around. क्योंकि sometimes what happens when patients know कि blood checkup करवाना है तो 1 week पहले strict हो जाते हैं, then their fasting sugars look great, their meal के बाद sugar looks great. But HbA1c gives us a clear picture what you have done in the last 3 months. Okay, so that is one. Then the next very important test is HOMA IR. Okay, if you want, note it down. HOMA IR, it's an insulin resistance test. So before you can become diabetic ना, आपका insulin काम करना बंद कर देता है. So get your insulin resistance first checked. Okay, so it's a very strong predictor to know whether you're diabetic. Okay, another sign is if your lipid levels and cholesterol levels are always high. That also is a sign that your sugar is not being managed. Okay, and you need to measure your waist circumference, your hip circumference. If this ratio is also not in check, you are at a very, very high risk of diabetes. Okay, so think about people in your family, think about people in your friends who you know who have a high waist circumference, right? Or if it is you yourself, you need to be mindful. Okay, so these are two parameters which I told you how you can know your numbers. So now, how many of you all want to actually know the 10 hacks that you can do? Okay, and this is something I've tried on my clients, tested it, they have got healed, and I'm giving it to you for free. So how many of you all want to actually know what are these 10 hacks that make a difference in preventing sugar spikes?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Yes, Nidhi, Nishant, what about the rest? So I see only both your videos on and participating. Rest, can I request you, please take a minute and switch on your videos. Or at least put a virtual hand up so that I know you're participating. Yes, Krinali. Who else? Who else wants to know what to do? Okay, so in the interest of time, I'll move ahead. Okay, so the first and the most important thing is the sequence in which you eat your meal. Okay, now meal sequencing cannot be that मैंने lunch में meal sequencing follow कर दिया, breakfast and dinner is not managed. That's not going to help. Okay, so you need to follow this like a thumb rule. What is the thumb rule? Every meal that you start with, always start with some form of vegetable. Okay, vegetable has to get into your body first, and then you eat your proteins and carb. Okay, so if you're a vegetarian, you can eat your dal chawal after that. If you're a non-vegetarian, the rice and chicken curry can be eaten, but your ground rule has to be to eat vegetables. And is that easy? Very simple. Okay, if vegetables घर पे भी नहीं है, simple one cucumber can you cut and start eating and making that as a practice. Okay, and that can be done for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, people say when you're going out for weddings or you're traveling, you can always have a bowl of soup. So you've got your quota of vegetables and then you eat your protein and carb. Okay, so the most important thing is eating your sequence of meals. The second trick, which works wonders, okay, I've seen diabetic patients walking 10,000 steps and yet it is of no use. Okay, because what matters is when you are walking. तो आपको कौन सा विंडो यूज करना है? द विंडो आफ्टर योर ईटन अ मील. Okay, when you look at your body now, you have a lot of area that is taken up by muscles. So the moment you're done with eating a meal and you start walking for 10 to 15 minutes right after the meal, all your muscles start soaking all this glucose which has come into your blood like a sponge. So you're not giving your body only time for the sugar to keep going up. Okay, so just dedicate 10 minutes of walking after breakfast, after lunch, and after dinner. And guess what? You've got your 30 minutes of walk. Then you do even 7,000 steps, 6,000 steps is okay. Okay, and here another thing which you have to be mindful is if you're sitting for a long time, half an hour chala gaya, 45 minutes chala gaya, you're just going on sitting, even that will keep making your sugar levels go up. So you need to get into the habit like get up, take a stretch, walk a little bit and come back to your seat. Okay, so that is what will keep your sugar in check. So that's the second hack. Moving to the third hack. Very crucial, but we all take this for granted. Is your sleep timing. Okay, now the golden window for your sleep timing is 10 o'clock. 10 to 10:30 max. If you're in the lifestyle of going to sleep after midnight, okay, no matter what you do the previous day or next day, your sugar levels are going to go up. Okay, so a lot of people who live their life 1 साल 2 साल 3 साल निकाल रहे हैं with just going to sleep after 12 1, you know, scrolling on Instagram, watching series and everything, you're not going to see any symptom, कोई consequence आपको immediately नहीं दिखने वाला है. But one fine day you get up and you do your blood test, you'll see your sugar levels have gone up. Okay, so your golden period is between 10 to 10:30. You have to go to sleep and get deep sleep. So in that time, your sugar levels are coming in control, your liver is detoxifying, your body is healing, and next day you're able to operate well. Okay, because क्या होता है कि अगर you have not slept well ना, the next day you will need more energy to operate. You will be cranky, you will be craving more sweets, and you will need more calories to operate. तो आप देखोगे कि you will just keep snacking for no reason. Okay, so we need to start going to bed on time. Okay, a very important and critical point also, other than like, which is important, जो आज के day and lifestyle में हम ignore कर लेते हैं, is your stress levels. Okay, today you ask anyone ki are you stressed, so what their answer will be like, who is not stressed? Okay, we have made stress a very normal thing. So if your lifestyle is like, you know, on the go, you're running, you're busy, you have business meetings, you're frustrated at home, you're in general frustrated in your business, or whatever you're up to, okay, be it you're giving exams or whatever. But if you're practicing always being stressed, it is going to spike your sugar. Why does that happen? Because when you're stressed, you're making one hormone called cortisol go up. ये cortisol क्या करता है? It goes and works on your liver to keep releasing glucose. Okay, so just by doing nothing and just taking stress, you're sitting and just spiking your sugar levels. Okay, and I don't want to give a lecture on how to manage stress, that you know. Okay, it could be either breathing, doing yoga, taking that stretches, pranayam. There's enough access of material what you can take care of. So be mindful about your stress levels. Okay, so far everyone with me, can you give a virtual thumbs up? Anything that you want to say? Okay, yes. The next point which we need to really focus on when you're trying to manage your sugar levels is working on your muscle percentage. Okay, and so I'm also want to specially mention about the women in this call. Okay, I can see a lot of women in this call. So, you know, you need to take that extra effort to start exercising, going to the gym, or even having a trainer or whatever way to start building your muscles. Okay, because जो male body है ना, उसका design ही होता है कि they already have a good amount of muscle percentage. Okay, but women, okay, have lower muscle percentage. That is how the female body itself is made. The women's body has a very high amount of fat percentage. Okay, so women really need to start weight training, strength training, resistance training that will build up your muscle. The more you have muscle, the better is your metabolism, the better is your ability to keep your sugar in control. Okay, so focus on your protein levels and start improving on your muscle percentage. Okay, yeah. Now, these are things that I spoke about which can help prevent sugar spikes. Now, I'm going to talk also about a very thing, it's something very basic, but highly crucial is your hydration levels. Okay, when it's raining, when it's cold, our hydration level starts dropping. Now, guess what? That also can make your sugar levels go up. Okay, because when you look at your blood, if it is fully concentrated, na, your sugar concentration is more. But the moment you drink good amount of water, you're diluting your blood. So you're not allowing your sugar to spike. So just by being dehydrated also, you can spike your sugar level. So you have to take that conscious effort to make sure that you're drinking adequate amount of water. Okay. So now let's look at finally the last step, okay, of what are the best foods. You know, you don't need to go out and take supplements and do fancy things to bring your sugar in control. Okay, everything is already in your kitchen. Okay, so now we are going to use those only items which are functional foods, which will actually help improve your insulin's functioning and also the way your sugar levels are managed. Okay, so the first and the most important, there's a lot of studies that have shown that cinnamon stick, fenugreek, these are two superfoods that help improve your insulin sensitivity. So if you're a diabetic, this is a great thing to include in your daily routine. Okay. Second, very important for diabetics is including apple cider vinegar. Okay. So what you can do is before a meal, like, 30 minutes before meal, take a glass of water and put 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in it and sip on it 30 minutes before meal. Okay. But here you need to be careful. Okay. Because कुछ लोगों को जिनको बहुत ज्यादा acidity है, it doesn't suit. And some people feel that your sugar levels go very low. So try it out, test it out. If it is suiting you, continue having it. Okay. Then there are certain foods which are antioxidant rich. So you're very heavily diabetic, then you need to take a lot of antioxidants. Okay. So berries, amla, turmeric, these are foods that will heal your body. Okay. So these are something that you need to include. Then the next point is including good omega fats. Now, why I'm saying कि omegas include करना है, because जब in your blood there's so much of sugar, no, it starts damaging every organ. Okay, omegas have the ability to protect these organs. So almonds, walnuts, these need to be a regular part of your diet. Olive oil can be a part of your diet. Okay, so that's one. And again, a lot of probiotics in your diet. This also has good healing properties, especially if you're diabetic. So curd, buttermilk can be a regular part of your diet. And finally, lentils like rajma, chole, they come with a good amount of protein, but they also have good fiber content, which is going to keep your sugar stable. All right. So with this, this is what I wanted to create for you in terms of diabetes, right? So what is the main takeaway? If I just summarize, first thing is watch out for symptoms on the outer world. Okay. Second thing, get your blood check done. Don't take that for granted. Third, I talked about the 10 steps that you can do to manage your sugar levels and prevent sugar spikes so that you don't get only into that diabetic zone. All right. So with this, I would like to conclude this session. Now I'd like to hear from you. Like, what is your take-home message? What practice are you going to start following? Yes. Yes, Nidhi, would you like to share?
Yeah, nothing like these all things that you have told me and you have always guided me.
Yes.
And just wanted to consider my weak point is the hydration thing, which
Yeah.
I have to take care. And I have started the walk thing after the meals and all,
Correct.
and I am taking care of. And yes, that gives lot of energy also throughout my day. And I
Correct.
don't feel, my energy didn't, it doesn't drop that way
Correct.
now. So of course, and I have gone through those checkups and all, insulin resistance checkup also. I have done that. So this is just some lifestyle changes which I have to do, and
Yes.
I'll take care. Apple cider vinegar, as you know, that I'm slightly acidic. I
Correct.
think, but still, I'll just give it a try once or twice if it is suiting me. Uh,
Yes. It just has to
yeah.
be 1 teaspoon. It will be less, like, almost 5 ml diluted in water. And with apple
Yes.
cider vinegar, what you also have to be cautious is use a straw.
Okay.
Because it can affect your teeth enamel otherwise. So always use a straw while having apple cider vinegar.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Diluted, when we are having diluted also with
Yes,
water.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Otherwise, the teeth enamel will get chipped off over a period of time. So that's something
Like
that you need to
my
take.
point is this, like, I am having empty tummy, nuts and all in the morning. I'm having almonds and walnuts, and before my mid morning fruit, I'm having seeds. What about my like pre workout? If I'm having a banana or an apple, what kind of fat you'll advise me? Because I'm done with the nuts, I'm done with the seeds, and you always advise me to have some good fat with the fruit. So
Yeah,
at that point of time, what should I have with the, as a
correct.
pre-workout if I'm having a banana?
You
So,
can, so basically, instead of having it mid-morning, have it with the fruit instead in the evening.
okay, okay,
You could do that. Okay, because fruits
Okay.
always, this is, and it's good that you brought up this point. A lot of diabetics also, and especially, when we are trying to manage our health, हम लोग क्या करते हैं, पहले ही बहुत सारा fruits खाएंगे, salads खाएंगे. But fruit is also nature's candy only, and that is also going to spike your sugar levels. So when you pair it with fat, the sugar doesn't spike immediately. So you need to include seeds and nuts every time you eat a fruit. Okay. So instead of having it mid-morning, have it in the evening.
Okay.
Or you can
Okay.
have a nut butter, like, apple with peanut butter or almond butter.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So that can be done. Yes. Yes,
Yes.
Nishant, would you like to share, like, what is your take home from today's session?
मतलब बेसिकली शुगर को लेकर मुझे एक चीज समझ में आई कि इसकी स्पाइकिंग या कुछ भी होने के रीजन हमारी खुद की लाइफस्टाइल ही है.
Yes.
एंड कुछ और मेडिकेशन या कुछ भी और शुरू करने से पहले सबसे पहले अपनी लाइफस्टाइल को सुधारना जरूरी है, क्योंकि स्लीपिंग एट 12 और 12:30 बिकम्स अ बेसिक लाइफस्टाइल कि
Yeah.
हम तो करीबन 8 साढ़े 8 तक ऑफिस से आते हैं, देन वी स्टार्ट ईटिंग डिनर, और उसके
Yeah.
बाद घंटे 2 घंटे फैमिली के साथ में 12 कब बज जाते हैं मालूम ही नहीं पड़ता.
Yeah.
एंड रही बात डिहाइड्रेशन को लेके, वही वर्क ऑक्यूपेंसी, काम करते करते आपको ध्यान रहता नहीं कि आपको पानी पीना है.
Hmm.
तो वो छोटे छोटे चेंजेस आई थिंक मुझे लगता है कि 60-70% तो वही वर्कआउट कर जाएंगे. एंड उसके अलावा हमको अपने लाइफस्टाइल में चेंज करेगा, जो थोड़ा बहुत मेडिकेशन हमको रिक्वायर्ड है वो लेकर हम उसको कर्व कर सकते हैं.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes. And both go hand in hand, okay? Like, especially when the sugar levels are high, only lifestyle won't work. It has to be a holistic approach. But yes, of course, when you put your lifestyle in place over a period of time, medications के ऊपर dependency कम होगा. So
अच्छा, वो
that's
थिंग
basically.
सॉरी, वन मोर थिंग टू आस्क. जैसे इसके अंदर जो बेसिकली वो डाइटिशियन, ठीक है,
Yes.
सो आप हमें जो भी हमारे डाइट एनहांसमेंट्स देंगे, ठीक है. वन ऑफ माय ब्रदर्स फ्रेंड, ही हैज कंप्लीटली नॉट टेकिंग शुगर फ्रॉम पास्ट 1 or 1.5 month, एंड
Correct.
उसको वो ड्रास्टिक चेंजेस देखने को मिले हैं. तो
Correct.
व्हाट ही डज, स्टीविया लेता है या फिर उसमें गुड़ डाल लेता है या शहद डाल लेता है फॉर स्वीटनेस.
Mm-hmm.
एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट उसने क्या कहते हैं, मैदा बिल्कुल बंद कर दिया है. एंड ही हैड सो अराउंड 10 to 12 kgs ऑफ वेट ड्रॉप, एंड
Correct.
उसको पहले से ज्यादा अच्छी और एनर्जी फील होने लगी है.
Correct. Absolutely. And it's not something like, now that has worked for him. That's great. And he has taken that radical step of cutting back on sugar. Okay. That is one aspect. What is important is that that kind of lifestyle has to be sustained all your life. Okay. Abhi, if he is doing this, but he also needs to be mindful कि muscle के ऊपर work हो रहा है, because those are other aspects also that is important for his health. Correct. If he's not eating sugar, maida, everything, but sleeping late, that will have an impact. It's going to be a slow impact, but it will happen. Okay. But this is great that he took a stand for like cutting back on sugar and he's seeing the results. So that in itself is good. But very good that आपने ये point भी बताया. But just to clear it for everybody, be it honey, jaggery, or anything, these are finally sugars only at the end of the day. Okay, so honey and jaggery cannot be a replacement. What it's going to have the same impact on your sugar levels.
ओके.
What about monk sugar?
Monk sugar is fine. Monk sugar is fine.
Fine.
Monk fruit
Okay.
and stevia is still okay. But again, I say कि ये सब artificial sweeteners है ना, वो brain के साथ play करता है. It tells your
Okay.
brain that you're going to get sugar in some time. So what happens is now afterwards you crave for even more sugar. Okay. So
Okay.
might as well ना keep life simple. जो चाय में sugar चाहिए वो डालना है डाल दो. But do the other things right, which will make a real
Yes.
difference.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay,
Okay.
yes. We'll take one more sharing. So yeah, uh, in the interest of everybody, I'm sharing my number here. You can drop a hi message. So, 1 second. Yeah, you can drop a hi message there. For those of you who are connecting on this call for the first time, and if you need, like I'll share with you this call recording and plus a PDF of these hacks. So you can share it with your friends and family. So just give me a moment. I am not sure why is it, I don't know why it's not happening. So I'll just tell my number as such. It is 9979560109. Okay, I think there was a tech issue. Now it should work. 95601 Okay. And I'm also sharing a feedback link. So if you could share like what value that you got from today's call and your feedback, right? And we meet every Monday. So if you want access to join this session every Monday, we do it on different topics, but mainly around sugar spikes. This is just the foundation that I've created, but there's a lot more coming up. Okay. So every Monday, 4:30 to 5, this happens. So if you want to be a part of the future webinars, please drop a hi message on this WhatsApp number. Okay. We'll just take one more sharing from anyone who would like to unmute and share what is your take home and what practice will you start. Anyone? Asar, Imza, Krinali. Okay. All right, fine. No problem. So with that, I would like to conclude the session. Really acknowledge each one of you for taking the time Monday evening, 4:30 and being on this call. And I'll see you next Monday. Have a great evening ahead. Yeah. Bye-bye.